The fork slipped from my hand, clattering against the plate, but even that sharp sound was nothing compared to the silence that followed her words. A burden. That's what my son's wife had just called me, right in the middle of dinner. I looked up slowly. David, my son, shifted in his chair. My granddaughter, Lily, fidgeted with her napkin, sensing something was wrong, even if she didn't understand the words. And across from me sat Anna, my daughter-in-law, her lips tight, her eyes cold, as if daring me to react. That I am 80 years old, that I have fought in a war, that I worked half a century in a steel mill, that I buried the love of my life, that I have endured pain, hunger, loss, and kept walking. But I never thought I would live long enough to be called a burden by the very family I devoted my life to. Yet I didn't raise my voice, and I didn't slam the table. I simply leaned back, folded my hands, and asked gently, "Anna, do you know what the word burden really means?" Her face paled. She hadn't expected a response. The room tightened, like a rope being pulled. After my wife Margaret died 3 years ago, the house became too quiet. The ticking clock grew louder, the nights colder. My son insisted I move in with him, for company, for safety, for family. At first, it felt right. Little Lily lit up every morning, that we built puzzles, went on walks, and I told her stories about her grandmother, the one where I dropped a pie on her lap at the county fair and spent the next 50 years trying to make it up to her. But Anna never looked at me with warmth. To her, I was another chore, another chair at the table, another reminder that life wasn't as convenient as she wanted it to be. Still, she never said it until tonight. That IT happened over roast beef. That a simple moment that I had asked her to pass the gravy boat. She sighed sharply and muttered, "God, you're such a burden sometimes." The air froze. I looked at her calmly. "Anna," I repeated softly, "do you know what a burden is?" She opened her mouth, but I continued, "A burden is something heavy you carry, something that slows you down, something you wish you could drop." I paused. "Is that what you think I am?" Her eyes dropped to her plate that I took a breath and began. "When David was 6, he got pneumonia. The doctors told us to prepare for the worst. I carried him through the snowstorm to the hospital, held him to keep him warm. I sat beside him 3 nights straight, praying he'd survive." I looked at my son. Was that a burden? David swallowed, shame filling his face. "When Margaret's mother broke her hip, she came to live with us. For years, I carried her up and down the stairs. I fed her, bathed her, tended to her in ways that tested both patience and strength." I shook my head, but I never called her a burden. Anna's face drained of color, and when Margaret got cancer, my voice cracked, but I studied it. I watched the strongest woman I knew fade away. I cooked for her, read to her, cleaned her, held her hand until her last breath. I looked Anna in the eyes. If love had weight, I carried mountains, but never once did I call it a burden. Silence. Only the clock ticking in the hallway dared to speak. Finally, I whispered, "If being old and needing a little help makes me a burden, then I pity what you think family is. Family is not measured by convenience. It is measured by love." Her fork slipped from her fingers. Dinner ended quietly. I excused myself and went to my room. I didn't cry. 80-year-old hearts don't shed tears easily, but they still ached. A soft knock came on my door. It was David. "Dad," he whispered, "I'm sorry. I should have said something." I placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's not about stopping her," I said. "It's about teaching her. Someday she will be old too, and if she sees me as a burden now, she'll fear being one herself." He nodded, eyes low. Later that night, another knock. Anna stood in the doorway, trembling. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I was tired. I shouldn't have said that." I studied her. "Tiredness doesn't create words," I said softly. "It only loosens the ones already inside you. If you're truly sorry, show it. Not with words, but with kindness." She nodded, eyes wet. The next morning, Lily burst into my room with a drawing of me, her, and her parents. Above it, in messy handwriting, "Family is love, not a burden." My chest warmed. Whether it came from Anna or Lily's own little heart, the message was clear. And I folded the drawing and whispered toward the heavens, "Margaret, you'd be proud. You're still teaching us, even now." And when I walked downstairs for breakfast, I didn't walk as a burden. I walked as a father, a grandfather, and a man who carried love his whole life without ever letting it weigh him.